This is Carol.
So Carol is a film that we've seen the trailer for plenty of times now. Really, really, really good trailer. Probably one of my favourites of the year. And we were expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting it to be.
It's been built up a lot.
Yeah, it's absolutely been built up a lot. It's been built up to it's been completely hyped to high heaven because it's had that much critical praise and critical just sort of gushing towards of how good it is. You know, people have been lavishing praise on it and just saying how much of a lock certain people are for nominees and how the picture itself is a lock for a nominee at the Oscars, even though that doesn't really matter. But you know, still it's a thing that happens and it's very important in the media industry. But Carol for me is it's exactly what I thought it was going to be from the trailer. It's sensitive, it's touching, and it's exquisitely well. I think that's the best way to put it. Exquisitely well made. It's really, really good because you really do feel like you're in there. So Carol was originally a book called The Price of Salt from the 50s, written by Patricia Highsmith under a pseudonym. We saw the trailer many times for Carol, and we knew it was going to be good. It's obviously we've seen it many times, and we were looking forward to it because it's a great trailer and it's got a great buzz. You said, do you think the M word was being thrown around a lot?
Yeah, I've seen people call it a masterpiece.
Yeah, but obviously a lot of buzz, a lot of sort of superlatives being thrown around for how good the actors are and how good it looks and everything. And to be honest, I think I concur with that. But basically, we're in the early 50s. We're following Therese Belivet, played by Rooney Mara, who I do not think looks like her sister at all. But we talked about that.
That's Cate Mara.
Yeah, Cate Mara. Yeah,
who we've seen in The Martian this year. Fantastic.
Yeah, really, really good. But she's a temporary shop girl in a department store in Manhattan during the busy Christmas season. She's approached by an older woman, called Carol Aird, played by Cate Blanchett, who obviously she's a much older woman and about 20 or 30 years. So
actress-wise, is about a 20-year gap, and I guess that's kind of the same for the story. Yeah.
And she's come in and bought a train set, and Carol is basically she's a woman. She's married. She's got a daughter, and she's obviously Rooney Mara's character is sort of enchanted, I guess, from first sight. I guess sort of wondering who she is, who this woman is.
She knows nothing about this woman, and she just catches her across the other side of the room and is kind of
and
sucked
obviously
in.
Carol leaves her gloves on a bench, and that gives Therese a reason to go to to deliver them to her house, and that starts a whole sort of relationship that they go through. And Carol is going through a divorce with her husband Hodge, so obviously it's very hard for her to sort of get where she wants to be in her life because of what's going on. And it's not sort of typical because she's already been in a relationship with her best friend Abby a few years before in their relationship, so that's why husbands, they're sort of suspicious as what they're going, and there is some development that as the story goes on. But it's a really, really, really touching story throughout. It's sensitive. It's emotionally complex, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know what this was filmed on. I think
16mm.
16. Yeah. It looks absolutely terrific. It looks exactly what it is. And what I love most about this film from the very beginning is just how it begins. Because there you go, just how it begins. Because you're joining them in the middle of the story.
Yeah. It's kind of the end of the story.
Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, it is kind of the end of the story.
It is the end of the story. It's not kind of.
But you're joining them there, and you really do sort of get the sort of mystery of Carol from the off.
You have that scene. You've got very little context, and then the film goes right back to the start, and then it finishes up at the end again.
Yeah.
You've got the context and it all fits into place.
Yeah, it all fits together like a beautiful puzzle. But everything from the production design, which is just terrific, and
unbelievable. The
soundtrack by Carter Burwell, who also did Legends soundtrack, which is absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. Really good mix of original soundtrack and all the songs from the 50s, which all fit the period well. But it's powerhouse. That's the best way you can describe it from Cate Mara and Rooney Mara and Cate Blanchett. They are absolutely terrific together. They sizzle when they're on screen. They've got fantastic chemistry. So much is said through their expressions and not just their words. It's in Rooney Mara's eyes. It's in Cate Blanchett's, the way she moves her head, the way she looks at Rooney Mara's character, the way they interact with each other. There's so much just said with the lighting of a cigarette. You know, rather than dialogue, it's expressionist in the way the characters move about and how they develop within each other. They are just it's a believable relationship. It's a believable sort of spirit. Cate Blanchett is sort of like an older, mystery. I guess I don't want to say a manic pixie dream girl, but she is.
I wouldn't say.
No,
that,
but
no.
No, it's sort of just she is mysterious. She is that unattainable part
and
of.
Then there's a point in the film involving a gun.
Yeah.
And that kind of that's another sort of elusive thing about Carol,
because
you don't really know what she's capable of.
The film switches from
you
genre.
You wonder at that point if there is going to be a major switch.
It seeks from sort of thriller and from romance, and obviously through different genres, and you never really know what it's going to settle on, and that's what plays into its power, because you really know. And Cate Blanchett's character is such a mysterious sort of force throughout, that unattainable thing that Rooney Mara can never seemingly have, and that's why you believe it so much, because Rooney Mara's sort of not really, I mean, she's working in a department store, she's not really decided what she wants to do with her life, you know, she's very sort of, I guess the word suggestible, that's probably the best way to put it.
Young.
Very young and suggestible, and then there's Cate Blanchett, strong, sort of really developed woman who's, you know, she's got everything she wants in life. She's got a fantastic daughter, you know, but she's still unhappy because her husband's leaving her, and you know they both seem perfect to each other, but they can't have each other because of circumstance. But you're swept away by the brilliant script and the powerhouse performances, like I said, and that great soundtrack and the brilliant production design. And there are sex scenes, but you know they are played so sensitively, and you know they're just.
Well, you think about it, it's the first time the exquisite costumes are taken off.
Absolutely, yeah, it's the first time you see them off, so it's even more striking. So you really do get into it. You know, that's probably but you really do get into the, you know, the fantastic complex emotionality of the entire thing that goes around. Because
I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what I really like about it. This is the 50s.
Yeah, being
being homosexual was illegal. And this is a relationship.
That's a good point,
this
actually.
is a relationship that shouldn't happen, not just because of legality, but also these are two people who. I saw them on the screen again. I thought this doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a couple.
No.
And that's kind of the point. They're not drawn to each other because of. I suppose Rooney Mara's are drawn to the appearance, but it kind of just clicks into place because they've got this sort of emotional friendship at heart, and it really. And honestly, Cate Blanchett is getting a lot of praise for her role. I think Rooney Mara does a very, very good job. I think she's got this sort of doe-eyed glow of Audrey Hepburn.
It's how vulnerable she looks, you know, and how like sort of suggestible and sort of wide-eyed with like the world ahead of her, you know.
You see it in the trailer, just a constant shot of just Rooney Mara's face with the big eyes and the
constantly bowing her head, you know, just like
beautiful, soft like face.
And it's the way it's filmed that adds to it, and the costume design is just absolutely terrific. I mean, Cate Blanchett's got these extravagant coats on a lot of the time, you know, these extravagant dresses, and you just see that, you know, you just can't stop the freight train of love, I guess. But obviously, I mean, in the 50s, illegal homosexuality. Yeah. So
it's utterly heartbreaking. I mean, like, it's one of those films when you leave it afterwards and you sober up. You have to get a metro afterwards, and you're like, I want to stay in that sort of 16mm world a bit longer. Yeah, but think how horrible and crisp the real world is. Just go back and get some 16mm.
And then the script, it just plays itself so well. Yeah, it could have been hackneyed in the wrong hands, but it plays itself beautifully.
But it's not. Joe.
I really enjoyed Carol. Yeah, I mean, beautiful framing as well. Specifically, because there's the whole. It's so good. The two performances are the biggest, like the most striking thing. But when I do see it again, I'm gonna look for like the more subtle things on the outside, obviously. Because Todd Haynes, I think he did a similar thing with Far From Heaven, with you know, like societal expectation, which is of Carol, of her husband, as well as Rooney Mara's character. You know, there's the framing with in the kitchen when she's like cooking on the stove and that, and it's like she's framed inside that kind of doorway. It's, you know, closed in, kind of her expectation with her boyfriend of you know, getting married and him doing whatever, and she being the housewife. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed Carol. Everything.
Exactly. I mean, we're doing our awards in a few weeks' time on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Make sure you tune in. Just peel yourself away from the top of the pops and Christmas dinner and come and listen to us.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend this.
I think Carol's going to be in there for me. Yeah. I mean,
you've got to see it.
I can't remember the last time I was this sort of, it's sort of like melancholic. It's so like melancholic, and I think it's just wonderful.
I don't think I've seen Carol better on-screen chemistry between two actors or actresses in a film this year. It's terrific in every way.
Go to the cinema and see Carol. But Bridge of Spies isn't a bad choice either. I would say Carol over the two.
Oh yeah.
I would say Carol.
Well,
I think it's
depends what you're looking for.
I'll have to see Carol.
You've seen a Spielberg film before. I don't think you've seen anything quite like this before.
I'm gonna watch
quite as touching.
I'm gonna watch Far From Heaven now. Todd Haynes. I mean, there's two films I still need to see: Far From Heaven and Safe. From these. But I'm
Todd Haynes
definitely
did a film called Poison as well.
Yeah,
which I really want to see.
Definitely.